be and will be the future of our nation. They will be the next leaders, the next doctors, the next lawyers, the next engineers, and the things that will keep our nation great. And yet, we let them be uninsured. What is wrong with you, Congress? Right now, we have a Senate that has 60 Democrats, and even in the Senate, there is no guarantee that we are going to get a health care bill. All right, I messed up. A health care bill passed. What's wrong with you, Democrats? What's wrong with you, Republicans? Let me tell you something. And let me make this perfectly clear. You have an obligation to this nation. Sorry, my cell phone acts crazy even when I have it on vibrate. So I got rid of it. It's off. You don't have to worry about that anymore. It may be a funny thing, but it ain't funny about what we're talking about here. You have an obligation to everyone in this nation. We need people to have health care. We need people who have some form of health care to have it be affordable. And we have health care for the very impoverished Americans, but that health care is deficient, and in many cases, people who cannot afford it are forced to pay co-pays. People who go into debt because they cannot afford it. So America, do not let Congress brainwash you into thinking we don't have the money for health care. We are spending close to $2.5 trillion for the Afghanistan and Iraqi wars. Let me say that again. $2.5 trillion of your money is going to fight wars, which ultimately get people killed. Many of our fellow American soldiers are gone. They're dead. Now we can talk about whether the war is justified or unjustified. That doesn't matter. It matters, but in this context, it doesn't. That's not the relevant part. The relevant part is this. If we can spend all that money to fight wars that kill people, then we can spend at least half that to heal people. Now let me throw another statistic down. Do you know Germany has had universal health care since 1883. It outlasted the bad politicians and even outlasted Hitler and the barons and what have you. Germany has had universal health care since 1883. We are one of the last democracies on the planet that does not care for their people. It is you who are to blame, Congress, in part. No, Congress, I said in part. That's right, you're not getting all the blame. It is also the president, former president's fault. But even you are not getting all the blame. The rest of the blame goes to all of us. That's right, you, me, Kathy, Annette, everyone. It is we the people, 300 million strong. We the people who have to make you in Washington realize we are your boss. You may not like to hear that. You may be a powerful person thinking, who's this joker telling us he's our boss? Well, you know what? Read the Constitution, Congress. Congressmen and women, read it. We're your boss. Abraham Lincoln said, we, the people, governed by the people. Well, guess what? Here's Kathy Fair. She's a part of the people. She's a person. Here's Annette. That's right. She's one of your bosses, too. So here's the point. Congress, you will pass a healthcare reform bill by the end of 2009, or people like myself and Kathy and Annette and millions of other Americans will vote for your opposition, and you will leave Washington. If you aren't doing right, you will say goodnight. We will work to see you be fired. If you are not going to take care of your people, you don't belong there. For those of you in Washington that do favor, you congressmen, you House of Representatives, you congresswomen and senators, Those of you who are in agreement that we need it and are working very hard to get it through, I applaud you. But I also will say to you, do not let those who are trying to stop this from being passed, do not let it be killed off. Do not fail us. Make sure we get a health care reform bill that at least includes what I said. No pre-existing conditions and affordable for everyone. If you cannot do that for us, even those of you who support the president and are working toward it, even if you cannot get it passed, then even you must be voted out of Washington. Because it is not enough for you to work to see it get through. You must achieve it. You've gotten bills passed and laws passed and funding for many, 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 many things over the years. You've done a lot of good. But now it's time to step up to the plate and score a home run. America needs you. America needs you to do your job. And America needs Kathy to do hers. So we're going to be calling you, congressmen and women. And my viewers are going to be calling you. We're going to be emailing you. We're going to be faxing you. We're going to be snail mailing you. We're going to put so much pressure on you that you will get it done. Legally and peacefully, we are going to let you know we want this reform. And no longer am I going to accept your brainwashing of the American people and these nonsensical talk show hosts that says we can't afford it. If we can't afford the health care for $1 trillion, how then did we have the money to pay for a $2.5 trillion war? Be honest with the American public, because you are hurting too many of your fellow Americans. And I'm not going to just blab for 30 more minutes. I'm going to tell you about one of those Americans who has 2 forms of health care, and it's still not sufficient. And we are now going to introduce and hear from Kathy, excuse me, Kathy Payer. Oh, by the way, you hear me coughing, right? That's because I have something like a bronchitis or something, and I've had this cough for 1 year. My doctors haven't figured out what it is. But I can't go to the best doctors because I have lousy health care. So remember that. When I ask you to call your congressmen and senators, I'm not just asking for Kathy, I'm asking for me. This cough is because I'm not getting proper health care. This cough is because my doctors seem to be deficient in figuring out what's wrong. So my life's being affected too. So is yours, so is your family's. So without further ado, the one, the only, laughing Kathy Payer! Speak up.
Well,
She can't hear you, it's too far.
well, I have this hospital bill. It was $149, and it was for a sleep study test. And when I got the bill, I didn't think I had a bill at first, but when I got the bill, I called the health plans and asked them why I have this bill, and they said they only pay part of the bill. I called the red, white, and blue card, and they said they don't cover it at all because it's a sleep study test. Well, I can't afford it, but I asked if I could make payments, and they said that they would agree for the payments. But I'm
you
struck.
really can't afford
I
it.
can't really afford to do the payments either, but I do what I have to do so I don't get in trouble.
Okay, now, I know that this is going to be seen around the globe.
Right,
And I know this is a private thing
right.
and a personal thing. But I have to ask you, would you say that you're on unlimited, financially unlimited budget, or are you on a fixed budget?
I don't feel I'm on a fixed budget.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Are you wealthy or are you not wealthy?
No, I'm not wealthy.
Don't tell me, please tell me.
No, I'm not wealthy.
Can you speak up?
I'm not wealthy.
So in other words, you're on a fixed budget.
Yes, I am.
And you can't afford these extra expenses.
No, I cannot.
And so would you say that your health